In the second part of this lesson, we will understand how universities can integrate the United Nations 2030 agenda in the academic activities, university management and governance. How are universities rethink the way of teaching to address the United Nations agenda for SD? As we said at the beginning of the previous lesson, teaching and learning within universities play a crucial role in supporting the implementation of the entire UN 2030 agenda. SD involves a profound reflection on the way people think and act. Above all, new generations must develop knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes that enable them to contribute to SD. To this end, education is essential to empower students to make informed decisions and actions responsible for environmental integrity, economic prosperity, and social equity. The real challenge remains that of empower and mobilize students in the co-creation of learning environments and collaborative projects for change in the real world. In fact, the most important innovation that SD brings within universities is the shift of emphasis from teaching to learning, placing at the center the participation, creativity, and physico-intellectual energy of the students. Talking about university research, in your opinion, how can it contribute to SDGs? Universities, through their multi-sector research capabilities, have a fundamental role in providing the necessary knowledge, evidence, solutions, and innovation to support the SD agenda. Universities need to identify how current research activities link with SDGs, map strengths and weaknesses, define research area, and priority projects on which to act to promote interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary approaches that bring different disciplines, sectors, and types of knowledge. Academics, professionals, politicians, citizens, and so on, together to address the complexity of social, environmental, and economic challenges. The traditional recruitment, training, career, and evaluation mechanism of researchers should be reviewed to make them compatible with the aim of making university sustainable. This implies intervening from the training of young researchers, building skills to conduct applied and interdisciplinary research, providing funds and creating structures that foster interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary work, and last but not least, overcome the barriers of research evaluation focused exclusively on the discipline that prevent collaboration, methodologies, and congruent approaches with research on SD. What about actions that university can take to contribute to SDGs through their internal operations? Well, universities are often major employers, consumers, investors, and real estate holders. They oversee large communities of staff, students, and contractors. Their campuses can function like and be the size of small cities. They can create significant flows of people and goods that necessitate infrastructure investment in surrounding areas. They can also have an influence far beyond their regions through their supply chains and increasingly international reach. As a result, universities have an impact across each and every one of the SDGs, and this impact can be large. The scale of the task of achieving the SDGs will require mobilization of all sectors, and for this reason, it will need significant leadership and support to bring all stakeholders on board, build their capacity to understand and implement. As places devoted to knowledge creation and teaching for the benefit of society, universities have traditionally occupied a unique position in society that makes them particularly suited to provide leadership on SDG implementation. What can university do? For example, to host public lectures, community events and forums to raise awareness of SDGs, to serve as a neutral platform, a safe space for different stakeholders to discuss the challenges of implementing the SDGs, to work with policymakers to identify problems, options and solutions, and to assist in policy evaluation, to build partnerships and networks with other universities towards mobilizing sector action on the SDGs. The Italian University Network for Sustainable Development is a virtuous example of what the university can do to create network between stakeholders. It represents the first experience of coordination and sharing among all the Italian universities involved in the themes of the sustainable development and social responsibility. Its purpose is to treat and enhance the theme of sustainability through actions of comparison and fruitful exchange between the different academic realities of our country. To do so, the Italian University Network for Sustainable Development has created a new working table on education that aims to promote the culture of sustainability through development of a transdisciplinary educational dimension of the university programs. In this way, students will be prepared to disseminate, promote and implement correct lifestyles both within the university and in their private and work experience. The challenge of sustainability today is crucial at a time when, due to declining public funding and rising costs, higher education institutions have become increasingly entrepreneurial, often pursuing income-generating opportunities, avoiding activities that can produce social and environmental benefits. Therefore, even for universities, and not just for businesses and industries, the Sustainable Development Agenda broadens the time frame of choices, providing a clear vision of development that is consistent with the nature and distinctive mission of universities.